You won't believe who walked into that courtroom, and what he said next will change everything you thought you knew. The tension was already thick inside the Manhattan Federal Courthouse. The air had that strange mix of anticipation and dread that only happens when something massive is about to drop. Everyone thought they'd seen the worst already, until he showed up. No one was prepared for Justin Bieber. No press leaks, no whispers. Just the door swinging open, and the world's most famous pop star stepping onto the witness stand. You could literally feel the oxygen leave the room. Even the reporters stopped typing. And across the room, Sean Diddy Combs, once untouchable, the kingmaker of hip-hop, looked like he had seen a ghost. What happened next shattered whatever defenses Diddy had left. Up until that point, he had held on, somehow, sitting through days of gut-wrenching testimony, victim after victim recounting dark, disturbing stories. But when Justin raised his right hand and swore to tell the truth, something inside Diddy snapped. Because this wasn't just any celebrity taking the stand. This was the kid he'd once called his protege, the young star whose career he claimed to have nurtured, the one person he never thought would turn on him. And Justin didn't show up for drama or headlines. He came to finally speak up, not as a pop icon, but as a survivor. A young man who had been manipulated, groomed, and silenced for years. He started from the beginning. He was 15 when he met Diddy, naive, hungry for success, looking for a guide, and what he got instead was something no teenager should ever be forced to endure. As Justin talked, his voice steady but shaking at moments, the entire courtroom leaned in. He wasn't giving vague statements or painting in broad strokes. He named places, times, situations, and the more he revealed, the clearer it became. This wasn't about one incident. This was about a system, a pattern of calculated, methodical abuse. It was the same story others had told, just with different details. Manipulation disguised as mentorship, isolation dressed up as opportunity, control through guilt, shame, and fear. Only this time, it wasn't behind closed doors or whispered among insiders. It was all out in the open, on the record, in federal court. And Diddy? He unraveled in real time. His hands shook. His breathing turned shallow. Medical staff edged closer. He wasn't just crying, he was falling apart. Not because he was innocent, but because the empire he built on secrets and silence was crumbling right in front of him. Justin didn't flinch. He said there were parties where he was the youngest by far. Alcohol pushed on him, doors locked, cameras rolling. He talked about nights he barely remembered, and mornings he'd wake up bruised, confused, ashamed. And he wasn't alone. He saw it happen to others, young artists, male and female, people with big dreams who were told this was just how the business worked. He even tried to warn some, but the price for speaking out was too high. Public smears, leaked photos, career sabotage. That control? It didn't stop when Justin got older. Even years later, Diddy's network was still watching, still threatening, still recruiting. One phone call, one text, and the whole machine would kick into gear. But it all changed when Cassie came forward. Seeing her stand up, risk everything, sparked something in Justin. He realized he couldn't stay quiet anymore. Especially when a concerned parent recently asked him if sending their teenage son to stay with Diddy was a good idea. That was the final straw. He told the truth, and the threats came fast. But this time, Justin didn't back down. He brought evidence, texts, photos, records, everything. He told the court about the moment he confronted Diddy years later, told him he knew what he had done. And Diddy? He just smiled and said, "You're successful, aren't you? You should be grateful." That wasn't mentorship. That wasn't protection. That was delusion. And when Justin finished telling his story, after detailing how many others he'd seen fall into the same trap, the judge asked if he had anything else to say. He looked straight at Diddy and said, "I was 15, a child. You didn't make me, you broke me, but I survived." The courtroom exploded. Diddy completely lost control. He screamed, sobbed, tried to lunge at the stand. Court officers had to physically restrain him and carry him out. The courtroom, usually stiff and formal, turned into pure chaos. And outside, The world was watching. Within hours, hashtags were trending. Chat believe survivors. Diddy exposed. Other artists began speaking up. Old stories resurfaced. Survivors found each other. The industry scrambled to cover its tracks. Labels pulled contracts. Streaming services dropped playlists. Even the feds stepped in, looking at everything from RICO to trafficking. But through it all, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't just about Diddy. It was about a broken system. One that allowed predators to thrive while victims suffered in silence. That silence. It's over now. Justin's courage lit a fire. Cassie's strength showed others they weren't alone. And what started as one testimony is turning into a reckoning. If this story hit you, if you believe in truth, in accountability, in survivors, don't just scroll past. Like this video, share it, talk about it. The more people who hear this, the harder it becomes for anyone to hide behind fame or money ever again. And hey, if you're new here, subscribe, because we're not backing down. More stories are coming, more voices are rising, and trust me, this is only the beginning.